Hello and welcome. My name is JJ, or I'm a man called Jay. In this program, we are going to talk about conversations for change. Conversations for change takes place in this space here. This is an African led channel which actually discovers or highlights issues that are going on within the diaspora or back home. And in this video, I will be joined by three distinguished guests from Sudan. As you know, Sudan has got so many challenges. And we have got these gentlemen, they lead organizations, they know exactly what they are talking about. This is not sensationalism, and this is not like the hype you see on social media. But anyway, without wasting so much time, let us meet our guests. So, gentlemen, I don't speak Arabic, and I don't want to pronounce your names wrongly. So I will ask Gershab to introduce you guys. So Gershab, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, JJ, for this opportunity. My name is Mutaai Girshab. I am the Director General for the Regional Center for Training and Development of Civil Society. I got with me here Dr. Abdul Salam Sid Ahmed, and he can introduce himself. Abdul Salam.
Thank you, Gershab, and thank you, Joseph. My name is Abdul Salam Sid Ahmed. I am the chairperson of the Sudan Human Rights Monitor.
And also, I have my colleague Hamid Bakhit. He can introduce himself.
Welcome. Hello, everybody. I'm pleased to be here with AILTV. My name is Hamid Bakhit, and I am the head of Projects Directorate in the Regional Center for Training and Development of Civil Society, which is like abbreviated in RCDCS.
And could you guys say where you are speaking from? Gershab? Yeah.
I am speaking from London.
Okay.
And I'm speaking from Birmingham, UK.
Fantastic.
I am speaking from Oman. I got here maybe only 2 years because of the war erupted suddenly in Sudan.
Okay. So basically, for me, I'm here to facilitate. Um, I don't know much about Sudan historically, but the little I know about what is happening in Sudan, this situation in Sudan started very long time ago. So you guys, you will be able to shed light to people like us who doesn't know anything about Sudan at all. So Girishab, let me start with you. You, of course, you are the founder of RCDCS, and then you will have to tell us what that really means.
No, I think RCDCS, or the Regional Center for Training and Development of Civil Society, is a non-profitable organization trying to educate people about the basic principles of democracy, human rights, and peace. And through various type of activities, whether it will be civic education, whether it will be training workshops or public dialogues. And I think public dialogues is a very important tool to reach peace. Thank you.
Okay, so now if I ask this question here, I'm going to ask the gentleman in glasses. Yeah, we have got two gentlemen in glasses.
You mean
Now,
Hamid or Abdul Salam?
Okay,
Hamid,
okay.
Hamid. Okay, so all right. So let me start with the no on the gentleman from Oman. You have said that you have been in Oman now for 2 years because of the war in Sudan. If you can actually give us a little bit idea of what is really happening in Sudan and the situation in Sudan, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah. What's happening in Sudan? The only one thing that can describe it well is to say it is like a chaos. It's really not just the war, as anybody can know war or can witness war before or have at least a little bit information about war in the world. War in Sudan is like, as I told, is like a chaos. Suddenly, everybody, I mean, in Sudan, were just spending their time moving here and there, and they wake up to find out there are shellings, bullets, and fighting around them. Nobody knows the exact reason at the beginning, and then it goes massive. So at the beginning, it started in Khartoum and extended to other cities and other regions. It almost now takes about 2 years or 2 years and something, to 2 years 1 month maybe. And the problem is, and what I can say is, unfortunately, there is no even a solution that people can see ahead of them. Every attempt for solution just return back because there is like a third party who is not interested in finding a solution, not interested in peace. So this is the exact problem in Sudan now. The problem is not in the war itself, but the problem is on the third party who is not interested in getting peace.
Okay, so the gentleman, I think, let us stay focused on the screen. Right, you have mentioned third party organizations that we know there is a lot of interference in Africa everywhere you go. Let me speak to is it Abdel Salam? Good, good. You are a human right. Are you a human right activist? Right. So you
No,
as a
in
human
fact, Dr. Salam is as a human rights consultant. This is why when
okay,
I asked
okay,
him
just okay.
Does
Talk.
the
to
activist is
introduce
fine? It's good enough.
himself,
Activity. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Now talk about your job and where you see where you are actually whether you are succeeding in whatever mission that you're given.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, our organization is the Human Rights Monitor. So we basically try to monitor, and document human rights violations that are taking place in Sudan. After the conflict, the start of the conflict, we started documenting human rights violations committed by both parties to the conflict, or other parties as the conflict grew more complicated. And the what we do is try to sometimes publish reports or publish statements depending on the level of the information or the agency of the matter. And the material we put forward become like a focus for advocacy. And we try to build campaigns for human rights protection, for civilian protection, in view of the atrocity that are taking place, and try to reach out, not just to address the two warring parties, but also other bodies like United Nations, African Union, mediators, and all this kind of thing. There are a lot of challenges. The most important of which is that because of the war, we have our monitors on the ground are facing a lot of problems in terms of movement, in terms of possibility of getting information out, in terms of personal safety. So that these are some of the challenges that are, and of course, I mean, after that also, the warring parties do not listen. They are not interested in adhering to international humanitarian law. They do not care about the lives of civilians, and obviously they do not heed recommendations for civilian protection.
Okay, so now Girishab, you created this center for I think it's called the Regional Center for Training. Can you
for
expand?
training, for training and development of civil society.
Right. So
So
when you look at Sudan, do you really think that is there any possibility of
means that,
recovery?
as I said, that this will coexistent about uh, the principles of democracy, about these kind of things, which is really needed to inform the citizens so that they can participate in an informed and effective way.
So if okay, if I ask this because I can see in Sudan you have got the two generals fighting each other, and then you have got other smaller groups fighting all together. What exactly are they fighting for? This is Habib. Oh, is it Hamid? Sorry, Hamid. Sorry. Yes.
As I mentioned earlier, nobody can say for exact that what are they fighting for. You know, yeah, maybe there are many factors interacted together or interferes in this idea. Of course, the most important thing that they are fighting for is the power itself. And but who wants to be in the power? Unfortunately, both sides are fighting on behalf of the Islamists. You know, the RSF or SAF, both of them are fighting on behalf of the Islamists. The Islamists are controlling both parties, and they are fighting together to retain back to the power. Meanwhile, there are also other, as you mentioned, there are some small groups such as like what's called Barraun, إيش درع الشمال, then joint military groups, which is made from the movement of Darfur. All of those are just like playing a game, fighting beside one of the parties. And of course, they are not fighting because of Sudan, because of, as they name it, Al Karama, but they are fighting for the Islamists to retain back to the power again.
So are you saying that? So who is the Islamists?
Okay, the Islamists, as this is the previous regime which was ruling Sudan for about 30 years, governed by Al Bashir, and of course the revolution of December came and took their power off. Then they want to return back to the power. They create this war. They created, and as anybody knows that the representative of the two parties, either RSF or SAF, are from the Islamist parties. It is very clear for everybody that now what is leading the war, what is interested in the war, and who is interested in extending the war and not give a chance for the peace are the Islamists, not any other person.
So okay, Abdel Salem, am I pronouncing your name right? So you are engaged in the human rights activism. Let me just call it that. You might not really be an activist, but your job is all about human rights. Now, so the international human rights organizations, what are they doing when it comes to Sudan?
Well, the international human rights organizations at both international NGOs as well as the UN bodies. For example, there is a fact-finding mission appointed by the Human Rights Council, UN Human Rights Council. It was appointed in Sudan in late 2023, and they are working right now on on Sudan. They did already a first report last year, and they are working on the second report. And their job is not just to document violations, but also point to like some of the perpetrators in terms of addressing the question of accountability for human rights violations. So that is one body. The United Nations mechanism. There are also what is called mandate holders, independent experts that are specialized either in thematic issues, and there is a special expert, independent expert on Sudan also that is report to the High Commissioner for Human Rights. And in addition, as I said, for example, lately or recently, Amnesty International issued a report on Sudan, speaking about arms sales from United Arab Emirates to Sudan, Chinese manufactured, weapons that were provided by Emirates to the RSF, for example. I mean, these are this is just one sample, and Human Rights Watch previously had documented also violations by various parties on sexual crimes and crimes against humanity committed by the RSF in Western Darfur, for example, as well as the national human rights NGOs like ourselves. For example.
Okay, so all right, so let me ask this to Girishab. So Girishab, where do you because civil society in Sudan is completely broken down? Do you agree with me or not?
No, I don't agree that it is broken down, but it has been marginalized. It has been kept off the mainstream. I think until now, all the trial to reach peace is only bringing the fighters, those who are holding the guns, and make them more important than the people who are calling for peaceful solutions. And I think the civil society organization in Sudan, they maintain their resilience, and they are struggling to get an end to this war. And I think they never sit back and watch, but they are trying daily to find a solution forward. And they are calling no to war, yes to peace. But unfortunately, most of the mediators are ignoring this outcry. They only focus on those who are holding guns.
Okay, now let me go to Hamid. You say Hamid, right? Hamid, when I hear many Sudanese talk, there will be those who support the RSF, and there will be those who support the SAF. What, where did this? What does the public think when they see the two generals fighting, and probably they don't even give them the reason why they are fighting, because I'm sure the reasons they are fighting, the two generals, they know. But do you really think the public understand what these guys are up to or what they are fighting for?
Unfortunately, the public does not understand what are these generals fighting for. But there is something happened at the beginning of the war, and as I mentioned and I keep mentioning, the Islamists were behind it. The Islamists are those people who knows how to make propaganda. So they make like a big propaganda convincing people that this is a very important war and it has to be I mean, we have to break down or to completely destroy the RSF, because RSF is fighting against the country, is fighting against the humanity, is fighting against blah blah blah. That is why all the community or all the public community now just follow what RSF is saying. Sorry, what SAF is saying. I mean, the community in general or public in general now believe completely in the importance of destroying RSF. And this is what makes it very difficult to convince people and to take them back to peaceful solution.
So now, well, I don't know. As I said, I have no idea of what is going on in Sudan, because I can see now there are, when I hear you guys speak, it is like you've got the Islamists in the middle. But also I hear that there are other interference from foreign countries, especially from Middle East. Because that one, I don't think we have got to fear to talk about this. As we know, I don't represent any. I have no any affiliation with any political party. All I'm trying to facilitate here is to have a platform so that people can come and express their their views. Now, with this interference, because I understand Sudan is an Islamic country. So when you hear that Emirates or Saudi Arabia, then do they really? Does religion play anything in this game here, Abdul Salem?
Right. Okay. Thank you for this question. My, I think the first I want to say that the problem in Sudan started in Sudan itself, and it was the main responsibility, the primary responsibility is that of the Sudanese parties. I mean, in this case, the main warring factions and their political associates and or the people who are inciting the conflict, or those who are basically wanted to use the conflict to set a claim to power and resources, perhaps. So the main issue is not the regional or outside players. The starting point has been the problems in Sudan itself, and Sudan has been in a troubled path effectively since independence, or since the eve of independence. As you know that third of the country separated and became an independent country because of the mismanagement and the conflict and lack of accommodation from the ruling elites. So the regional players, it's not a question of religion, it's not a question of cultural affinities. There are obviously some interests involved, and so the regional players would find it in their interest to support this party or that party. And so basically what you have here in terms of some of the regional players supporting RSF or others supporting SAF to serve their interests, is just because they already found the possibility to interfere in the affairs of the country and try to pursue their interests at the expense of the integrity of the country, at the expense of its well-being of its people, at the expense of it is future of the country in the first place. And instead of trying to negotiate, how to preserve their interests through kind of contracting agreements that could serve mutual interests.
Now, this is a question that I'm going to ask Girishab. How, if you were given a task of, say, for example, of putting up a proposal and present it to either to UN or whatever, because that's where we can go. We don't have, the African Union failed us, so I don't have any how do you, how do you say it? I don't believe in African Union. That Afri- no, no, we don't have any hope. So, if you were given a task, say for example, to present a document or a paper for rebuilding Sudan, where would you start?
No, I mean we have tried to do several kind, as I mentioned, forums to try to bring the people to midway or to understand uh, what is going on and how they could arrive to one opinion forward. And in fact, both Hamida and Abdul Salam were engaged in this kind of dialogues. And I think war cannot be won over by one side or over the other. Peace can only be brought about by negotiation and dialogues. But as I mentioned, that civil society should be part and package of that negotiation and dialogue, because the mistake which we have done in the past, that all these peace processes were only among those who hold the guns, and they came back and be rewarded by sharing the authority, or sharing the power, or sharing the government. And I think that was a big mistake. I think dialogue with all the people involved, apart from those who were on the previous regime, can reach a kind of the first. It could be to stop the war, ensure the passage of the humanitarian assistance, and also to rebuild the institutions and services. Then can continue on reaching a political kind of process, and also this should go to a full civilian government. The armies or those who hold the guns have other roles to do for the protection of the land, the protection of the constitution, and so forth, and let the governance be by the civilians.
Okay, now let us
And I think,
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. And I think, as mentioned before, that Sudanese can resolve their own problems if they are not, if there was no interference from others outside Sudan.
Okay, so now on the side here, you can see when it comes really to the diaspora actually expressing their views, and they are really committed to see that they want peace in Sudan. This is just a recent demonstration in Sudan, which had very young, it had young people, people of all ages. Now, one question I want to ask here, do you think when Sudanese meet on the streets in the US, streets in London, uh, do you think this message really goes through? I'm talking to Abdel Salema here.
Yeah, well, I believe the role of the of the Sudanese diaspora organizations is to try to influence the decision makers decision makers in their respective countries. So if the message is can make a noise, draw attention of the public, for example, in the UK, send a memorandum or send a message, a signal to the UK government that there is a problem of a country called Sudan, that we need their attention, their work with other stakeholders and their work with other countries, influential countries within the UN Security Council or within the European Union, within other structures, for example, then obviously that would be a success. It is not for the, I mean, again, the Sudanese diaspora, obviously, they are very much concerned about what is happening in Sudan. They want to contribute in various ways. Some of the groups have formed emergency response humanitarian assistance programs or outfits, for example, and they are comparatively in a better place, even though each and every person individually have a lot of responsibilities in terms of supporting their immediate family and friends that are suffering because of the conflict. Nevertheless, they are trying to help in that way. And finally, the Sudanese diaspora are part of the Sudanese fabric, particularly the point mentioned by Gershab, that they want to look into ways that the Sudanese civilian communities and organizations can get together to get their voice heard and try to influence the trend, the way events are going on, and to influence, for example, mediators and all this kind of thing in a way in order to find a way to stop the conflict.
Okay, so I am going to play a very short clip. I'm going to play it just shortly because I know Sudanese in the diaspora, they are really trying very hard. Especially you guys, because just recently you had a conference at the Friends House. This is the Quakers House in London. And this is what you came up to.
Dr. Abdel Salam Said Ahmed will moderate this meeting, and the meeting will have three objectives. Objective one is to identify the main challenges confronting civil society actors engaged in humanitarian, anti-war, and human rights activities in Sudan during the current crisis. The second one is to explore actual or potential local initiatives and mechanisms for peace building and conflict resolution. The third objective we hope to achieve, to explore ways and means of recognizing civilian forces, so reorganizing civilian forces and amplifying their voices in peace negotiations within the current political, social circumstances, and how we could amplify the voices of the civil society in the future or current political or social circumstances. Here we have been on personal capacities. Nobody is coming to represent any political party or any entities. And we hope it is a dialogue, it is exchange of ideas, and to explore what could be done for the best of the Sudanese people. Thank you very much. I will hand.
Okay, so I mean, the conference was for about 3 hours. You discussed a whole lot of things. Now, from now, I mean, so how do you? I just want to find the right question here to frame, because all you guys, you are intellectuals here. How do you? Can you combine? Can you bring intellectuals and everyday person together, and probably create whatever you have already started now to talk among yourselves, because also what I know, there are also people are divided. They don't want to talk to each other. There are people supporting SAF. There are people supporting uh, is it RSF?
Yeah, RSF.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, Hamid, what do you think the task here should be?
Yeah, we have already taken this task before, and we had like 12 forums through which we try to gather the civil society together. And when we say civil society, we don't mean only organizations. We mean even the intellectual groups. We mean the native administrations. We mean even the local people or ordinary people. We just bring them together in forums, and through these forums we try to discuss multi issues relating to what is the exact role the civil society can play in the cessation of the war, and whether they will take I mean let only the two parties, the two warring parties, come to a decision together, or they might interfere to stop this war or the ongoing war. And of course also through these forums we try to amplify the voice of the civil society, because um, we believe that the problem of Sudan is like an inherited problem, and this problem is, from the very past time or very long time. We always are in this what we can call the devil series. Democracy for 2 or 3 years, military government, a coup, a military coup that take the power over for 30, 40 years, and this is what we have. Suffer from all along our history. So this happened because the civil society or the civilians are not engaged in making policies or creating policies. That's why we thought that our organization can initiate a dialogue or conversations that bring people together to get their opinion together, or to have a joint opinion in how to have their main role and how to enhance their role in creating democracy or in sustaining democracy. These forums, as I told you, they are almost 12 forums. Through these forums, we come on, like great impacts and great results that shows us that the civilians themselves have a will to be apart from the future, and they have a will also to have like a peaceful Sudan, and also through dialogues they can easily come together into like a shared opinion or a shared interest. So what we can see now, people are fragmented, people are maybe supporting different sides, can easily be solved if we initiate more, or if we lead more conversations between civilians.
You, Hamid, you are a media person. Is that right? Okay. So how? Because these days social media is that's where everything is happening. Some people, they are producing fake news every day on a daily basis. You can even see what is going on with Traore in Burkina Faso. Everybody's coming up with all kinds of stories. So we as media people, what do you think we can combat this frenzy of media fake news?
Yeah, combating fake news and provide like a fact check platforms is an essential part that every media channel must think about. And this cannot be done only by maybe providing news or combating them through, for example, fighting but it comes through training, a deep training for the social media activists and the social media now audience themselves. What I mean is the organizations can provide training for the social media activists, so they can easily have maybe the idea of fact checking, and they can easily provide a deep knowledge about what are the fake news, and how can people avoid even listening to them or hearing to them.
Let me swing the arrow to Girshab because Hamid is talking about training. So that's where you come in. You, what sort of plans do you have in training young people and even people of all ages to be aware of what is being put it out there in social media?
Yeah, I mean, media and particularly social media avenues are a powerful tools which they can shape the opinion of the public. And therefore, RCDCS has made some attempts in the past to try to do some training for journalists and young people to to how they can use the social media, telling the stories. And also now we are planning for the future, in the near future, to have a series of workshops uh, targeting the young people, whether they are in the diaspora or inside Sudan, to do some training, media training, and we are we are hoping that Africa's in London TV will help in this area. So we are planning to hold some kind of training workshop for the media in for the Sudanese in Addis, in Uganda, and in Nairobi and in Rwanda. We hope that we will find the right funds to do all these workshops.
Fantastic. Well, I am here really. Yes, I am ready to do that. I am ready. We can with all our with our combined knowledge. I'm sure we can actually do something because we have got people in all areas, whether in media, anything that you name. And you know what surprises me? Sudanese people are very bright people, but I can see how they've been dismantled. Anyway, we will go into that deep. Now we are going to uh, end up here, but I just want you, the three of you, to give, oh, sorry, I'm going to sneeze here, to give just a brief account of what, sorry, of what, of what you think we can do to move forward, especially in first. Well, we have already created awareness. We know that things exist, but unfortunately, not so many Africans know what is happening in Sudan. So, a man from Oman, let me start with you. What do you think we can actually do? Yeah, just 1 minute. If you can just give us an idea, this is just like a brief idea. What can we do?
Yeah, thank you for this question. What we can actually do as civilians is to stick on civilian training and civilian dialogue. I mean, the opportunity for the future solutions for the future development comes from civilians themselves, not from the military, not from the warriors. And the civilians cannot do this role unless they are fully aware with their duties and fully aware with their rights. This won't happen unless the civil society provide deep training for civilians in different places, in different areas, considering everybody on the ground. um, I mean, even those ordinary people should be engaged in future shaping through being apart from creating the policies from making policies. So they won't be just like passive people just waiting for governments to do things instead of them or on behalf of them.
So, Abdul Salam, do you have another angle what we can do to actually? I don't even know whether to clarify things more because we.
Yeah. I mean, two directions. One is that since you said that a lot of people in Africa do not know what is happening in Sudan, I think the first task would be kind of creating awareness through clear, simple messages that stress the facts of what is going on and try to inject more awareness about the situation in Sudan. And the second dimension will be, from my perspective, will be obviously also injecting more awareness about human rights violations as a result of this conflict, the suffering of the Sudanese people. I mean, the figures that humanitarian organizations speak about in terms of this 13 million, for example, displaced or refugees, etc., etc. This is there are real lives of people behind these figures, and this is the point that we need to unpack, bit by bit, in terms of that at least we can reach out some better understanding of this war, which, in my opinion, is a war against Sudanese people. It's not a war between two generals. It is a war against Sudanese people.
Thank you. Also,
Thank you.
Girshab, your 1 minute solution.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we are going to continue a kind of or organizing a series of meetings, whether online or face to face, trying to raise the issue of the Sudan and what is going on there. What surprised me is that the amount of damage, the amount of human rights violation, and the amount of catastrophe which is happening in Sudan, most of the media are just turning a blind eye. And I also want to see how we could put Sudan in the top of the media every day. I haven't seen neither BBC nor Sky News, nothing about Sudan. Just once in a month, getting a smaller amount of shit, and then as if that even after the London conference, nothing has been done that could be effective. So we will continue our advocacy. We will continue our series of meetings.
Okay, so you know what? When you come to my house, I don't have a TV. I don't watch BBC. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch ITV. All those are not for us. So the only way we can do is to create our own media. You see, like here, we have decided today we are making a program, we are making it. So, because we have been depending on others for so long, and by the time we want to make a point, it is 9 months. And then the news arrives, is like as if something that happened in 9 months, it is reported today. No, that one, we have to find a way of stopping it. And not really, we don't have to worry about them. We can actually create our own media. And people, one thing that I must say, we have to engage the young people, because young people, they know, they are the people who are engaged in social media. They know which buttons to press, they know how to deal things, they know. But also they need a little bit of guidance so that they get things right. So I'm going to close, and I will see you sometime. Now, Sudan is going through a catastrophic situation. In fact, this situation was created long, long, long time ago. When you see the caption down below, it says almost 23 million that have been misplaced and many dead. But one thing what is not really right, the whole of Africa, let me say this, is totally silent. No one actually knows what is going on in Sudan. And that is a shame for us Africans. We will come to that in another program. Next time we will also talk about the African Union and what it does and what it doesn't do, whether it has failed us or we should completely give up. We don't have any hope in African Union. Anyway, I'm rambling too much. Until then, ciao.